what should we expect in the Las Vegas Grand Prix from Logan Sargeant and Alex Albon? I was really surprised by the pace of the Williams this weekend.
Yeah, Kobe, me too. I was really surprised to see them doing so well, but I guess it's up to the track and the fact that maybe the car suits this track. But I think that if we take a look at the quali from last night, I think it gives a very good idea of what today's race is going to look like. I think that the cars that did well in the quali are the cars that are going to do well in the race as well. It's not going to be like one of those races where, quali is very different from the actual Grand Prix itself, but I think that we can expect some really good things from the Williams. I think that especially with Alex Albon, he's going to stay and finish in the top 5. I think that Logan Sargeant could be, I would say, top 10. He's probably going to be finishing the top 10 as well. He will drop down a few points, max maybe top 12, but I think that overall we can expect a really good performance from the Williams. And I think it is really surprising how well their car has been performing in Vegas so far.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was shocked. I would say I was a little bit surprised, but I just think back to the beginning of the turbo hybrid era in 2014 when Williams started partnering with Mercedes using their power units. Mercedes obviously had the strongest engine back then when these current regulations first came into effect, and they were able to even flex their muscles a little bit and beat Red Bull or beat Ferrari in 2014 and beat Red Bull in 2015 and finish third in the constructors those 2 years. Williams always seems to have excelled on tracks like this that have long straightaways, and we've been talking all weekend about this Las Vegas track and the cooler temperatures and how it's going to be difficult to warm up the tires. I think if there's any team that can play that to their advantage a little bit better than everybody else, it's going to be a team like Williams. And again, a little bit surprised that they ended up as far up the grid as they did, 5th and 6th. I was expecting them to be borderline, making it out of Q2, getting into Q3, but then probably being on the back end of Q3. I didn't expect this. 5th and 6th for that team is absolutely incredible based on where they've been this year and the last several years prior. I think we still have to kind of be in a little bit of wait and see mode for the race. But I think that, when you look at how far up the grid they are, it's certainly going to be a disappointment if they don't come away with a nice solid haul of points to assist them in trying to hold on to the 7th place in the constructors, which again, based on where Williams have been since 2018 or so, that would be a tremendous result for that team if they can hold on to that spot that they have right now.
Yeah, and it would be great if Williams can end up getting a double points finish here in Las Vegas and another points finish for Logan Sargeant on his home soil. That would be, as I've been saying, it would be very exciting for American racers. I'm sure everyone's going to be paying attention to his progress throughout the night. And looking at this Las Vegas Strip circuit, the track favors teams with lower downforce, allowing Williams to have both cars in Q3. Looking at the constructor standings, Williams has 28 points, AlphaTauri 21, 16 for Alfa Romeo, and 12 for Haas. Logan Sargeant with 1 point so far. If he ends up finishing 6th or better in this race, he can move up in the standings several points. And Ben, for our last question of the F1 segment, I'll start with you. Considering that Abu Dhabi, season finale is next after Las Vegas, does Williams risk more to gain more points or treat it just like any other race? It's Vegas. Some people have the mentality of going big or going home.
Yeah, I know you're in Las Vegas, but I mean, again, I would be thrilled to see a Logan Sargeant podium. I think for the US F1 fans would go crazy for that. But this isn't a coin toss between 15 points for a 3rd place finish and 0 points, which is what, I know it sounds harsh, but it's been the Logan Sargeant experience up until COTA this year. And that's not entirely his fault. I know he's not driving the best car on the grid, even though Alex Albon has certainly pulled his weight and picked up a nice haul of points for the team. It's his first season, it's his rookie year. He's not used to being in a position to fight for this many points. So I kind of feel like if you're starting in 6th, that's a great goal. I mean, if you had told them that they were going to finish 5th and 6th going into this weekend, I think Williams would have signed that in a heartbeat. Now that you are 5th and 6th in qualifying, maybe there's this idea that, maybe we risk it all to go off strategy and maybe find ourselves in a position to fight for a podium here. But if we do that, maybe there's also the potential that we could drop further down to 8th, 9th, or 10th, or maybe even out of the points entirely. I don't think you want to do that either. I think if you're Williams in this situation, you try to bring the cars home as close to the starting positions as you can. If you have an opportunity to make a move and go for it and things line up absolutely perfectly for you, the cards fall your way, then absolutely take it. But don't do anything unnecessary. Don't lick the stamp and send it, so to speak, in the final corner trying to pick up a few more points when you've already put yourselves in a position to have a nice haul. I mean, what is this now? 18 points if they finish in 5th and 6th and bring it home where they started, that would be almost 2/3 of their points haul of the entire season leading up to the Vegas Grand Prix. I don't think you just want to throw that all away.
Yeah, Ben, I agree. Just because we're in Vegas doesn't mean that, you have to go big or go home. I think that Williams right now they're in 5th and 6th. That's really amazing, and I think that their main goal right now should be to just maintain those positions and to, maybe go up or down a position, but nothing where they wanna be on the podium because then they can really risk losing the points that they have, and I think that this would be great for both of their drivers to, um, do so well in one of the last races of the season. I think it's a great way for them to finish up. So I think that their main goal right now, the priority should be to just maintain those positions and to, watch out for the drivers behind them.
I think we've seen two things this year that point to what the strategy needs to be for Williams. One, we've seen that Alex Albon can keep almost anybody behind him with that straight line speed. The DRS train behind Alex Albon has no effect on his mental fortitude. He's been able to hold people behind him for lap after lap after lap. And that has been the secret a lot of times to scoring points, is that he doesn't fall back through the grid like the Haas tends to do when they find themselves up higher. The other thing that we've seen is this team DRS dynamic where you're dragging another team member along. We saw Russell calling for it with Hamilton at previous race. Not a team dynamic, but we saw Sainz and Norris pull that off a while back as well. And now you have Logan Sargeant starting right behind Alex Albon. So if Alex can keep Logan in DRS to help defend himself from the rest of the grid behind him, that is going to be their secret weapon. However, that is only going to happen if they get through lap 1 line astern as they are now, be it the same place, be it a different position. And also the amount of pit stops, we really don't have a good grasp on how many pit stops there are. Pit stop strategy is going to play into this a lot. Where they go into the pits versus where they come out the pits could completely throw that game off. I don't think they can maintain that throughout the whole race. Williams is kind of kinder on their tires than other cars have been, but this is something that has also fluctuated throughout the year. So it's really tossed up there. I think if we get to like the halfway point and they're still next to each other, then they've got a solid haul of points. But however chaotic this first lap gets, that might throw some reactive strategy in there. And they're going to need to roll those dice to keep the advantage that they've gained. They're going to need to be able to react quick if we get that chaotic start that we were talking about.